Now, from WYDC TV, this is Big Fox News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Anna Manuel. The legendary Mark Twain left behind a legacy in Elmira. Today, on his birthday, our Maggie Hall visits some historic sites and shares more about his legacy in the Twin Tiers.
Today, November 30th, is Mark Twain's birthday. Although he was born in Missouri, he spent a good portion of his life right here in Elmira, even writing parts of his most famous novels, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, in this study right behind me. While the study now sits on the Elmira College campus, it was originally built for the author by his wife on their family farm, Quarry Farm, pictured here.
So Mark Twain came to Elmira in August 1868 as part of his courtship of Livy Langdon.
Mark Twain was his pen name. The author's real name was Samuel Langhorne Clemens.
You throw a rock in this town and you'll hit something named for Mark Twain. He actually wrote the vast majority of his most famous works here in Elmira. So he wrote Roughing It, Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Life on the Mississippi, Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
These works were written right in this study when Twain and his family would spend their summers in Elmira.
In Elmira, he would just go up into his study, close the door, write all day, and then in the evening they would hang out and relax, and in the morning it was rinse and repeat. So the summer was the perfect time for him to actually just buckle down and do the writing.
The prolific writer was even buried here in Elmira in the Woodlawn National Cemetery. To learn more about Mark Twain's legacy in Elmira, visit marktwainstudies.com. Maggie Hall, Big Fox News, Elmira.
A wind advisory was in effect today with gusts up to 50 miles per hour. A strong cold front passed over the Twin and Southern Tier today, causing rain and large gusts of wind. Possible power outages and tree limbs may have occurred throughout the area. The moderate rainfall and huge gusts of wind can be associated with runoff from Tropical Storm Nicole moving up the East Coast. The city of Hornell has received $1.3 million in grant money to upgrade the city's water system. About $50,000 will go toward an asset management plan that will assess the current equipment and infrastructure's age and condition. The other $1.2 million will be used to rebuild sewage pumps and rehab other parts of the system. College football championship weekend is just a few days away. Big Fox's Josh Feldberg spoke with one of the voices you'll hear this weekend.
Gus Johnson is one of the top play-by-play broadcasters in the football world. With the college football season heading into championship weekend, Big Fox had the opportunity to speak with Johnson about life as a national sportscaster.
I'm blessed to be able to do something that I love, which is broadcast sports around the country, and I've been all over the world having an opportunity to cover sports. It's a dream come true.
Johnson spent a number of years in Buffalo working with legendary Bills Steve Tasker earlier in his career.
I also used to call a lot of Bills games when I was at CBS during that time, so there are no more passionate fans in the NFL than Bills fans.
While working in Buffalo, Johnson got to experience life in Western New York.
I miss the people, just good people, real people. And I miss those cool uniforms. And that with that bison on the side, buffalo on the side. It's just, those are some wonderful moments in my life, wonderful days, having a chance to hang out in Buffalo. And I miss it. And there's nothing better than watching a Buffalo Bills game. I'm so happy they're really back to being a great team.
Championship weekend starts this Friday with the Pac-12 championship between USC and Utah.
When it comes to USC this weekend, I think Caleb Williams is a Heisman front runner now, but they're going to have a tough game against Utah. Utah beat them earlier this year in Salt Lake City, so now they go to a neutral site game in Las Vegas, and that's going to be difficult. So there's an upset alert going on.
You can watch the Pac-12 championship as well as the Big Ten championship, which Gus will be calling this weekend on Big Fox. Josh Feldberg, Big Fox News, Southern Tier.
Strike averted. More than 115,000 rail workers will stay on the job, moving products this busy holiday season and keeping the economy running smoothly. The House approved a measure ending rail workers' labor dispute. Lawmakers voting 290 to 137 on legislation forcing the adoption of a tentative agreement. Several House and Senate Democrats said they wanted to do more for workers by expanding sick leave benefits as a condition of backing the deal. Landmark legislation to protect same-sex marriage. The Senate passing legislation that would codify federal protection for marriages of same-sex and interracial couples. The Respect for Marriage Act was approved 61-36, with unanimous support from Democrats and a dozen GOP votes. The bill now returns to the House for a final vote before it can go to President Biden, who has already said he looks forward to enacting it. It's the first holiday season with no stringent COVID-19 restrictions in New York City, and many people are using the opportunity to take part in holiday traditions they love, like seeing the tree lighting in person. Richard Giacobbe has more.
3, 2, 1!
The tree was all aglow in Bryant Park as people took to the ice skating rink below, and they shopped at all the stores in this year's Winter Village. It sure seemed like the holiday season in New York City was back.
I'm going to enjoy New York City. I mean, it's open, it's alive, it's full, it's great.
Feels amazing. Feels like New York.
Call it a post-pandemic holiday season, one where New Yorkers and tourists alike are finally feeling like things are back to normal.
Going to concerts, going to see the Rockettes and different Broadway shows.
I'm just spend time with family, see the Christmas tree, enjoy the Christmas music, decorations like I always do every year.
I am going to go to the South Street Seaport to also look at more trees and the Hudson area for more lights, and then shows. Christmas shopping.
New York City's tourism board, NYC & Company, says between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve, 6.5 million people are expected to visit the Big Apple. Hotel bookings are up. 10 new Broadway shows have opened this month. And in-person events like tree lightings and New Year's Eve ball drops are back in full force.
Get back out there and travel, go see family, get back to the shopping malls, and really exist again in a sense of normalcy.
Psychologists say this holiday season may be the perfect time to get mentally ready to enjoy the sights and sounds of New York City at Christmas.
Everything's getting back to normal, which we're happy about.
Psychologists say you have to do what's right for you to celebrate this post-pandemic holiday season, whether that's going to catch a tree lighting or strapping on some skates. Maybe it's a Broadway show, or maybe it's just sitting at home with loved ones and celebrating how far we've come. It's the beauty of the holiday season. We're at Bryant Park. Richard Giacobbe, Fox 5 News.
The Consumer Confidence Index slumped this month to a 4-month low, reflecting higher gas prices and downbeat expectations for next year. Americans are expressing less optimism about the economy than they did in the spring. The Conference Board's reading dropped 2 points to 100.2, the lowest level since July. The group's senior director of economic indicators says there's a decline in current conditions, suggesting the economy has lost momentum, while the decrease in expectations signals that the likelihood of a recession remains elevated. Your midweek forecast is next. Plus,
here's your local stock market update from Big Fox. Now, your Twin Tiers forecast from Big Fox.
A few light rain showers did move across the area, bringing just over about 1/10 of an inch of rainfall to the Elmira area. But we'll note that as we did diminish some of those rain showers as we stepped into the afternoon and evening, we will note that some lake effect snowfall is going to be picking up across the Great Lakes, and that is having the potential to send some light snow showers across portions of the Finger Lakes. So as we roll into the forecast, you'll note here as temperatures are going to be falling a bit, we do have that streaming moisture that is moving across Lake Erie there, and then bringing the potential for a few light snow showers there into the overnight through the early morning on Thursday. So note that there may be some travel concerns with some of that snowfall as those temperatures will continue to fall. But we'll see that accumulation wise, nothing looking overall significant. Few tenths of an inch, maybe some isolated areas up towards the Finger Lakes and off towards the east or west, there could be upwards of an inch or so for that accumulation there's noted in Wayland. Now trending to see that we have those snow showers possible. Most of those will be diminishing as we we step into about the mid-morning into the early afternoon. And quickly there should be some clearing in place. Now, temperature-wise, we are going to stay cool with that westerly wind, and that wind is going to be strongest in the morning, causing for that lake effect snowfall, and then gradually will be calming as we head into the afternoon. But there will be a turnaround in the temperatures as we will be warming again Friday into Saturday, but we're again getting a break from the active weather. We are looking at more chances for some rainfall, potentially even wintry mix, as we are going to be factoring in roller coaster like temperatures. The ups and the downs are going to be persistent here for the first week of December. So trending into the wind potential, we have wind gusts across the Finger Lakes and now locally out of the west upwards of 30 miles per hour. That's pushing some of those snow showers to move into the area. Generally, those winds start to calm as we step into the afternoon and the evening hours, but the wind is also going to create a little bit of a chill to the air as we're only keeping high temperatures into those 30s. Now, not significantly below average, but with the wind, the snow, and then seeing temperatures fall compared to what we've seen, it's definitely going to feel on the cooler side. So layers definitely necessary, and always being prepared, because you never know what's going to happen on those roadways when traveling, when you have to factor in wind and snow. Now, as we head into Friday's forecast, we will stay under that clearing sky with more sunshine and the warming trend in place. Now, seasonal conditions around as we see widespread 40s back on the map. Now, it is going to be still at times a little breezy here and there, looking to be a bit calmer on Friday, allowing for the warming trend. But then we see that the warm southerly winds that will be strong again will bring those temperatures back up into the 50s. But then again, it's going to be paired up with some shower activity, which is going to be associated with another cold front passing, which takes those 50s and drops us back into those 30s and 40s. Now, it's quiet again on Sunday, but then as we roll into next week, we will continue to stay under this fairly active weather pattern. One, we have chances for rain and wintry mix, but the chance for the wintry mix comes due to those temperatures falling again as we head into Wednesday.
How some states are offering relief to taxpayers dealing with high inflation. Disney CEO Bob Iger tells employees he wants to quiet down culture wars, and AMC Networks plans layoffs as his CEO exits. CJ Papa has that and more in today's Fox Business Briefs.
At least 20 states are handing out one-time rebates or expanded tax credits to help residents struggling with soaring prices. Some states have already sent out payments, while others plan to send them at the beginning of the year. Americans continue to face crippling inflation this holiday season. Prices rose 7.7% year over year in October. Newly reinstalled Disney CEO Bob Iger is sharing his new vision for the company, and he wants to try to steer clear of culture wars. Iger telling employees at a Disney town hall, quote, "Do I like the company being embroiled in controversy? Of course not. It can be distracting, and it can have a negative impact on the company. And to the extent that I can work to kind of quiet things down, I'm going to do that." Iger went on to say it's important to listen to the company's audience and respect the people they serve. And the CEO of AMC Networks, Christina Spade, exits after less than 3 months as the company warns of massive layoffs. The company behind hit shows like The Walking Dead did not give a reason for her departure. But it comes just days after the company announced plans to lay off about 20% of its U.S. workforce. AMC Networks' quarterly revenue fell by 16%, signaling tough times ahead. That's business. I'm CJ Papa.
Cyber Monday online spending hit a record high. Cyber Monday pulled in more than $11 billion in sales online. Now, that's according to Adobe Digital Insights. That's nearly 6% more than what shoppers spent on the same day last year. Adobe says the record was driven by deep discounts and strong demand for electronics, computers, appliances, and sporting goods. Climate change and a rapidly exploding population are spelling trouble for the global food supply, but an underground farming effort below one of the world's most popular cities could provide hope for the future. Marian Rafferty takes a closer look.
Farms are not something you'd expect to find in a major city. But roughly 100 feet below the bustling streets of London, officials at Zero Carbon Farms have transformed an underground World War II air raid shelter into the farm of the future.
We don't use soil, so we don't get agricultural runoff. We use renewable energy, we use recirculating water, and we're able to grow the crops 365 days a year with little impact on the environment.
Here, gardeners are producing various salad greens for restaurants and supermarkets. And even though the operation is in London, similar concepts could be used in major cities here in the U.S. offering more solutions to combat worsening climate and economic issues around the world.
Farming and traditional farming has a lot of challenges, not least of all because of climate change, inconsistent weather, supply chain issues.
While also providing an eco-friendly way to ramp up food production.
We're going to have another 2 billion people on the planet by 2050, and we ultimately need to develop more ways of growing more food to feed the world, and we don't have more farm space to do it, and we don't have another planet to do it on.
And because the farm is in the city, officials say crops don't need to travel far to reach consumers, reducing greenhouse gas emissions from shipping and ensuring fresher produce. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
Up next, New York's mayor calls for a sweeping move to curb homelessness. We'll tell you his idea after this. A dramatic new initiative to combat the Big Apple's big homeless crisis. The mayor of New York City is now calling for the involuntary hospitalization of mentally ill homeless people if they refuse to willingly get help. Gary Baumgartner has that and more.
Hospitalizing the homeless. That's the new directive getting underway in the Big Apple.
Untreated psychosis can be a cruel and all-consuming condition.
On Tuesday, New York City Mayor Eric Adams instructed police officers and medical responders to transport severely mentally ill homeless people to hospitals, even if they refuse help. Critics argue it won't provide long-term relief for those suffering, but Adams says the decision is a moral obligation.
It is appropriate to use this process when a person refuses voluntary assistance and are a danger to themselves due to an inability to meet their basic needs.
Meanwhile, the escalating homeless crisis is also continuing on the West Coast.
We are a country, a state, and an area of abundance. We have enough. The problem is distribution.
During a vigil Monday night, community members outside San Francisco paid tribute to dozens of people who died this year while experiencing homelessness, calling for more intervention, broader access to mental health facilities, and more resources for existing shelters.
Acknowledging the humanity of all people is incredibly critical. 97 people's names are read because they weren't experiencing the safe, secure housing that they need.
Gary Baumgarten, Fox News.
Well, electric vehicles are expected to be the way of the future, but there's a major roadblock in the way of its popularity. EV charging stations are lacking across the country as rural states expect to operate them at a loss for at least a decade. While many consumers want more rapid charging stations, businesses are waiting for an increase in EVs on the road before offering electric charging options. Gas stations, convenience stores, and utility companies have also been battling over who should pay for the infrastructure to set up these charging stations. EV owners currently account for about 1% of drivers on the road in the U.S. So bugs may not be everyone's cup of tea, but they still play a critical role in the biodiversity of the planet. Now, insects are coming to life in an exciting new light display that's larger than life. Marianne Rafferty takes a peek.
These aren't your average Christmas lights.
It's really colorful.
This holiday season, the National Museum of Natural History in Paris is displaying giant illuminated insects, all in an effort to teach the public about biodiversity.
We really wanted to draw attention to the tiny world that is so beautiful.
Even though bugs are small, they play a huge role in preserving healthy ecosystems around the globe, breaking down dead animals and trees, pollinating crops, serving as food sources for other creatures, and more.
The whole system of life on Earth is based on this microscopic biodiversity.
The Worldwide Fund for Nature describes biodiversity as, quote, the variety of animals, plants, fungi, and even microorganisms like bacteria that make up our natural world, with every living thing working together to keep environments balanced.
We would be nothing without this biodiversity on the minuscule level.
Insects also play a vital part in the global economy. In the U.S., they generate billions of dollars in economic value every year, pollinating about 3/4 of the flowering crops farmers grow for market. But insects are under attack. According to a 2019 study published in the journal Biological Conservation, more than 40% of all insect species are in decline. A third are endangered. Marianne Rafferty, Fox News.
We'll be back with more right after this. And we want to leave you with a smile. Green hues brighten the dark Icelandic skies. The Northern Lights, also known as the Aurora Borealis, put on quite a light show. The lights are best seen in the fall and winter when nights are longest. More dark hours means more of a chance to catch a glimpse of the natural phenomenon. The Northern Lights are also frequently seen over Finland, Sweden, Greenland, and Canada. I'm Harriet Wallace. Thanks for watching.